Hey guys, right now we're going to be going over hard mode Coratanni. This is a very, very, very difficult fight. It's the last boss in hard mode Ravagers. There's two parts to this fight, two major parts. There's the first part right here where we basically kill Coratanni and Pearl, who's over there on the right. There's a lot of mechanics in this phase. I'll try to go over really quickly what Ricochet is, and then I'll do it step by step in the fight. My particular role here is the roamer for my particular group. What we do is we split up our group between the ranged DPS, the healers, and the melee DPS. Mikey is taking the place as a melee DPS right now with YOLO. They're over there next to Steely. Steely Claw and Milas are the tanks. Steely Claw is basically part of the melee group. Milas is going to be a part of the range group with me and Seven Faced, and the healer is going to be on their own in the middle. Now, Ricochet round is a really awful mechanic. What happens is she targets one random person in the raid, and that person is going to get two debuffs. The first of which is going to be the actual Ricochet round debuff. You've been targeted by Ricochet, you've taken damage. If you take damage again, you die. The second debuff is an 8-second debuff. It ticks down, and during that 8 seconds, it's going to spread to two people, the two closest people to you, at two separate points. So after 4 seconds of the debuff, it's going to spread to the closest person to you. And after another 4 seconds, when the debuff falls off entirely, it's going to spread to a second person. And that's why we split up the groups. If a person takes that debuff twice, you die. Just period. So if you do the math on that, if the debuff lasts twice as long as her cooldown on Ricochet round, which means 6 people are going to have that debuff at any given time. Now, why we have roamers is simply because if the roamer of a different group already has a debuff, then that roamer has to go in and help that group. If the healers get Ricochet round, then a free roamer needs to go in and take it. So there's a lot of situations where a whole group won't be able to take a whole Ricochet round, simply because that's just not how the mechanic works. So I play as the roamer. I don't think the melee group ever actually gets a Ricochet round, so I don't really have to. Well, they do, but they don't need me over there. For the most part, I'll just be helping out the healers and getting my own in my group, and that's pretty much it. Along with that, we're going to have a lot of other mechanics, including yellow colonels on the ground from deck guns all the time. There's going to be the blue circles that will stun you. Pearl will knock people back, and Coratanni has a raid-wide dot that hits really hard on everyone. She also has a cleave, which is also really annoying. This is going to be really, really, really intense. I'll try to take it step by step, but here we go. It's going to be a traditional opener. The really cool thing about the opener is if you lead with Corrosive Dart and then Corrosive Grenade, like you should on pretty much everything, you actually splash to Pearl. So Pearl's going to get a few ticks. Not really optimal. Technically, I think the real way they designed this fight is to actually burn Pearl and Coratanni at the same time, but since Coratanni has so many mechanics, that pushing her and doing nothing on Pearl, pushing her like just straight through and then just dealing with Pearl after and just burning through the enrage is so much easier than burning them both at the same time. You have to deal with so much more Ricochet round. You have to deal with everything. It's just awful. So burning Coratanni 100% all the way through. Well, not 100%, but I think it's 80% or 85% or something all the way through. Pushing her, so you just have to deal with Pearl and not have to deal with deck guns the entire time, or anything else is awful. However, since you got Adrenal, all buffs, all that stuff, having those 2 extra dots on Pearl will increase your DPS a little bit and make, the second phase for Pearl just a tiny bit shorter. So that's pretty much the little cool thing that you can do in the very beginning. It's not going to happen every time, but it's nice. I just do a really quick 2-call opener right here. You can do a 3-call opener, like most fights, and it's just fine. Right here, Ricochet right here goes on me. This is the first round of Ricochet, so it doesn't really matter. Roaming doesn't really matter or anything like that, but What's going to happen is I'm just going to put it on my group, and that's it. I'll put it on 7 face first, who's in my group, and then I'll put it on my list second. So, and you'll see right here, this blue buff right here, the one looks like somebody falling backwards or horse, depending on how you look at it. I don't know, it's like a Rorschach ink blot or something. That's the kill one. That if you have that debuff and you get targeted by Ricochet again, you're dead. This one is the spread one. It looks like the mag shot for invasive ordnance mercs. That is the spreading one. So right now it's about a quarter of the way through. You'll see the red aura around me that you can. It's kind of illuminating me due to the Colto shell. If you don't have a merc or commando healer, you're not going to see that. Actually, I don't even know if it appears on commandos, but if you don't have that, then you're not going to see it. Well, you will see it, but it'll be like glowing your character. It's a little tough to see. The Colto shell makes it really easy to see. You'll see that red crap just spread to 7 face when that debuff is about halfway done. You'll see that right about now. And now you'll see we both are red. So at this point, since we both have the debuff, I have to go over to my list and spread it to him. And you'll see when the debuff runs off completely that he'll get red as well. And there, now we're good. Now here, the blue circles are out. We usually do the blue circles on cooldown, quote unquote, just so we have those blues all the time. Now, blues are a little tricky. You have to be very smart with when you cleanse your fire. Also, don't be standing in them when they come out. Don't be standing in a place where they actually are under the vent before they come out, because you'll get stunned as soon as they happen. And the bad part about that is you'll notice we don't have fire right now, which means if I was standing under one of those blues, I would have been stunned, and it would have had a lockout on getting stunned and being cleansed for another 10 seconds or something like that, which means it would have taken more damage from the fire. Fire comes right about now. You also see, I think I missed it. Oh no, it just happened. You see on the raid frame, Mikey actually got the next Ricochet round, which means he's placing it on his group. He's over here, he's placing it on yellow first, and then it'll be going over to Steely Claw and placing it on her second. Yep, see, he's heading over there. Now, pretty much everybody in the raid group except the healers have it, which means the next round of Ricochet is either going to go on my group or the healers. So no matter what, I'll have to get that next Ricochet. So if you're a roamer, you should be aware of that. If you're a roamer, you're always going to be getting every other Ricochet round. That's just how it's going to work. But yeah, you just keep burning Ricochet round on Tefia. So I come over and I'll take you to the first or second one. It doesn't matter. As long as I'm over there, it's fine. Be aware of Ricochet round when the yellow comes out. See, now I got the second one, so I just go back over to my group. Always when you're roaming, always go back to your original position when you've picked it up or dropped all of it off, depending on if you're giving it to someone or taking it. So more blues come out. We still don't have, and you see here Mikey's got the next one, but since I already have the buff and they're all good, they're fine. I don't have to roam or anything like that. Now the fires go out, now I cleanse. Now the really tricky part, and the really good thing about snipers for this particular fight, is you have an instant, oh shit, I'm in yellow button. Never happens on this because I had a really good cycle for the blue, so I never was stunned in a yellow, but that might happen, especially if you're being targeted by Pearl, which I don't think I was during this pull, but Pearl also has a knockback, which is really annoying. So when you hear the tank, and he should be calling it out, the tank should be calling out whenever Pearl's doing walkabout, which is his aggro drop. Pearl just goes around and starts knocking random people off, which is really annoying. This, you should always have entrench when walkabout comes up. If you're really unlucky, walkabout might come up 2 times during an entrench, while entrench is on cooldown, which is really annoying, but it's not going to happen every time. But you should have entrench up for walkabout so you don't get knocked into a blue. If you get knocked into a blue, then you're screwed. But yeah, just make sure that you're not in a blue when yellows come out. You're a sniper, which means you have roll, and use that effectively. When you have roll, make sure you roll to out of the yellow if you happen to be stunned in yellow. Break casts too. I think I do that a few times. Yeah, see right here. Get out of there. Next Ricochet comes along on Cotling. Mikey's already got the buff, so I come over to the healers, and I take the first one since Tefia is busy. Yep, and I took it and I'm gone. So make sure shield probe is basically on cooldown because there's so many dots and AoE and all kinds of things that you're better off just putting it on cooldown. Fire comes out and then I take it. Now here's the next tricky part. When this next ricochet goes on, technically it's my next turn. See, the blues are now gone, so one of us is supposed to go over there to that console. Now since most of us have lockouts, me or Seven Face is supposed to go over there. I was going to do it originally, however, right here another ricochet round goes off and it's on caught. Mikey can't go over there, he just got the buff, so I have to take it, which means Seven Face goes over there and takes the console. So that requires constant communication and constant awareness. It's a very, very, very heavy coordinated fight. You have to make sure, and Yolo in his videos, he goes over it in much greater detail, and I'm terrible at explaining complicated mechanics like that, but just be aware of everyone's positioning, everyone's debuffs, especially if you're a roamer. If you're just in the side seat or a tank, you really don't have to worry about it. But as a sniper, you're probably going to be asked to be in that roaming situation because you're ranged DPS and you're a fairly mobile ranged DPS. So you're going to be asked to do this, and it's good to know how you roam. And that's how you do it. You have to be very aware of other people's debuffs. But at the same time, you have to be aware of everything else, which makes this fight really difficult, especially to maximize your DPS. And I think I did about 4,500 in this phase, which is decent. I tend to fall off when Pearl comes out because of energy issues, but I think I did pretty good for Coratanni herself. When you just have to be aware of pretty much everything. Lots of crap on the ground and stuff like that. But yeah, Yellow comes out. Got to clip the cast and then just keep going. Mikey dies. I don't believe I know what to. Let me actually look and see what Mikey died to. Might have been the bird. I think he called that out. Yeah, the bird knocked him into a blue while Yellow was out, and you're screwed. So you have to be really wary of that. Thank God you have the roll to get out of all that. So Coratanni pushes, and now we're basically on to Pearl. This is kind of sort of cheesing the fight, not really. I don't think it's intended to do it. That's why I think it's kind of cheesing, because I don't think it's intended to do this. But you basically just, 8v1 Pearl to death. She's going to do her walkabout, which is the only thing you really have to worry about here other than energy issues, really. And you just got to make sure you have Entrench up for that. I don't think I'm ever targeted by Pearl. I think I'm targeted once with Entrench, and that's pretty much it. There's been a few pulls where I've gone in here and Pearl's knocked me back every single time. Sometimes they'll knock me back when Entrench is actually on cooldown, which is absolutely terrible. But here I don't really have that issue. I know I run into a couple dips in energy, which you have to look out for. Since you don't have a lot of downtime, in the first part of this phase, you have the blue circles, which stun you for a little bit. That's the other thing about the blue circles I actually forgot to mention while we're doing this. The best time to cleanse your fire when the blue circles are out is in between calls. Sometimes I'll reapply dots and then cleanse, just so getting like a few ticks of damage on dots, and that's fine. But in general, you want to do it in between calls, specifically like the first call. Then what you're supposed to do your series of shots, but you can just cleanse instead and skip the series of shots and then go straight into your second call. And that's probably the best way to optimize your damage. There's probably a better way if you're doing 3-call rotation, doing the same thing, basically going into a third call and skipping series of shots or skipping your double lethal shot. Either way, it's a good way to manage your energy, which is really useful. In this phase, you don't have that boon, I guess. In this phase, it's just a straight up burn. Here, I fell back into a 3-call rotation when she was low. Unfortunately, she got low enough when my dots entirely fell off, which kind of sucks, but it doesn't really matter. We kill it anyway. And that's pretty much it for Pearl. It's mostly just healer intensive. There's nothing DPS really have to worry about except for walkabout. Just make sure you have Entrench up every time the tank calls it up. This is a really useful situation here. You have plenty of time to just screw around. This time right here does not cut into Rugers and Rage, so you don't have to worry about it. We're here